Hello and welcome to the All About Ability podcast. This podcast is sponsored by Kyle Financial, specialists in mortgages and protecting your family's finances. Whether you're looking for the best mortgage for you or want to make sure you and your family aren't struggling if you're seriously ill or pass away, call Kyle Financial on 0141 447 0290 or email advice@kyle-financial.co.uk. I will include this information in the show notes. Because you're trying to take away the stigma from disability. But I wouldn't be on that right away, but we're on now, so I better start acting professional. Enough sweating, Keane. Right, we've just turned PG. But I know it's great to have you here, Chris. It's genuinely buzzing to be here with you. It feels weird to have somebody that I know could beat the shit out of me across from me now, but is that something you're getting used to, where you feel like you're always like the toughest guy in the room most of the time? You're definitely the toughest guy in this room.
No, I don't think of it that way, but I just think if the shit goes down, I know I'm going to survive. That's it. You always need to be ready, because like just the world you live in these days, like you don't know what's going to go down. Like honestly, in the news every day, just it's always like negative stuff, people getting hurt, people getting killed, murdered, robbed, anything. So you don't know, man. So it's always good to be able to defend yourself and basically be a badass, know what I mean?
Aye, well, true. I mean, I'm asking that question because I'm like, I've always had the opposite feeling. I've been like, I couldn't take anyone here, but I need to be the nice guy in case something happens. Do you know what I mean? That's how I ended up in the booth in the first place. It's not actually for anyone else.
You're the peacemaker then, is that what you're?
I will. I just kind of stay in the corner, try to make people laugh, and hopefully nobody gets annoyed at me too much. That's how you need to be when you're in these situations.
That's
but
it, man.
So there's so much in my head I want to go through you, but there was something that made, like, I was really thinking about earlier, which was fighting, and you obviously had a fight recently, and how with the whole COVID situation, I know that after a loss you're probably itching to get back in there and just get right back after it. Yeah. But with the whole situation, it's difficult to do that. Is that something that you're finding frustrating, or like how are you dealing with the loss right now?
Well, when was it? November? No, October. It does feel like a lifetime away, but I'm used to staying so active. Like I like having 4 or 5 fights a year. I've done it since I was an amateur. So I definitely am choking to get back into it. I was injured for like 3 months here with an ankle injury, but now I'm back to training every day, and I need a focus. I need a fight. I need something to basically see down the line, to aim towards, to eat healthier, train more. But as a fight in general, and the loss, obviously, like fighting in an empty arena, like isolating and stuff like that, like I didn't like it at all. It was basically like fighting in a graveyard. Not that I've ever fought, well, maybe I have fought in a graveyard. I used to play one man in a graveyard, if that's not creepy enough, not me. But like I feed off the crowd, I feed off the energy of my fans. I like to entertain fans. I walked out there, I was talking to him and I was talking to the ref, and it was an echo, and I was just like, nah, I'm not digging this. Usually, like, you can't really feel the first couple of shots with the adrenaline, man, but I felt like the first leg kick, I was like, fuck. I was like, this has got to suck. So I'm not a fan of fighting without a crowd, that's a definite. And the whole COVID thing, I think we're close to, I think you can see a wee bit of light at the end of the tunnel, so hopefully my next fight has got to have a full arena or a full capacity. That's
something I've never really thought of, like the idea of like if there's no crowds, you can actually feel everything more, like all the hits are harder almost because there's nothing to go off of. I can't imagine doing that, man. Like,
don't get me wrong, he was strong. He was an awkward opponent. Southpaw. He moved different for a lot of people. He was strong, but like I was taking him down when I wanted to, and I was controlling him well. But I was not enough output in the feet. So these are things I need to go back and work on. And the next fight, I'll be flying out the gate, like trying to take his head off. So it's a good lesson for my journey as well, because that's what it is at the end of the day. It's just a journey for me to be getting a better fighter, martial artist, and a better person, which I think I'm doing on a daily basis.
Constantly improving, that's the key, innit?
That's it, man. Like, just none really in life, innit? In general, like, every day you want to wake up and just be that wee bit better at anything you're doing. It's not just about martial arts, it can be about anything.
Definitely, mate. I couldn't agree more. But that comes to the whole idea of what motivates you and the motivation you have to want to fight in the first place. Like, I was thinking about this, about if you look at like Conor McGregor's last fight, right, and I don't want to go into him too much because I heard you talk about him and we've heard enough about that guy. He's all over the shop. But the point is that, like, the reason why I bring that up is for me, when I look at it, like, do you think that being a fighter, a lot of the drive comes from like wanting to get a better life, wanting to make it into like the spotlight? Do you think once you do that and having all the money behind you, does that motivation to get in there and actually compete kind of go away?
I don't know, because like if you get into MMA for money, you're probably in the wrong game, because very few make it to. Well, obviously Conor is a one-off. But to make a solid living out it, like, it's hard at the start. You're making pennies, some people make nothing, amateurs are making nothing. Then you make a couple £100, your first maybe pro fight, unless you're lucky enough to go to a bigger show. So it is hard to make a proper living and be like the lifestyle, like a McGregor-esque. But maybe like if you make so much money, the quote I read this morning is that how can you get motivated if you're waking up in silk pajamas every day? You know what I mean? It's like, I get that. Like, if you've got, you fight for money, but I know a lot of people do fight for money, like myself. I don't fight for money. I just like the competition, and I like fighting, and I like the buzz and the thrill, and I like the grind. Like, I'm a weirdo, man. Like, I was, don't know if I could say this, but I was wrestling last night, and it was a hard session because we're training for fights. It was like cage work, wrestling, and it's a grind. We're sweating, it's tough, you're tired, and I love shit like that. You know what I mean? That's what I enjoy about it. I love being in the trenches when you're tired. Like, how bad do you really want to get better at something? You know what I mean? Just like a fight, if you're in the bottom taking shots, how much do you want to get up back to your feet, or reverse position or whatever, win the fight? You know what I mean? So that's what I love in the sport. But other people, usually the fake cunts that love the attention, they love the Instagram post. I'm a fighter. Here's me, my boxers at a weigh-in. I'm a fighter. You know what I mean? Like, here's my abs. I'm lucky to have 2 abs in fight day, never mind fucking like mid-camp. You know what I mean? So people get motivated with different things. Connor's motivated with money. And I'm never, like, money comes and goes with me. I love memories with my team. I love seeing other people do well. And that's just the way it is. It's just different for other people. Some people love the limelight. I do like the limelight, and I love like fighting in the big shows and the cameras. But that's not for me, or like, it's not to be rich or anything like that. You know what I mean? It's just I believe that's where I should be, and entertaining people. I like entertaining people.
Definitely,
that was a long answer, I apologise, but no, I did get that point across.
That was a solid answer, mate. Yeah. That'll probably get clipped. No, but as you're saying that though, like, so people like that obviously work their way up and they manage to break through. But see what you're seeing now in like football, for example. You're seeing a lot of young footballers getting big paychecks early on. Yeah, there's a lot of examples of guys that have got that big paycheck too early and kind of faded away. There was that guy that was playing for Celtic and he went to Chelsea. I'm forgetting his name now. But Islam Fanes. He obviously kind of fell away. I don't know what he's doing now, but like,
that's what happens when you go to Chelsea, though.
Well, true. But traditionally, like, it seems like a lot of the top class athletes have came from working class backgrounds. Yeah. You look at like even managers, Alex Ferguson, Jock Stein, the whole of the Lisbon Lion team were all working class from Glasgow. So do you see that as something that, how do you develop top athletes when they're already getting like the mega bucks at really early ages?
I think it's tough now because obviously the modern day football is changing. They're changing for these flashy guys that as you say, are on the bigger bucks. Or like most football players, like by the time they get to a decent age, they're maybe on, if it's especially down in England or whatever, 50, 60, 70 grand a week. You know what I mean? People maybe don't get that in a lifetime. But it's just a modern day football now. You don't get these. The fall, even the game of the football's changed. The tackling and the rule sets and stuff like that. Like, you don't get a hard football player anymore or a hard manager. A hard manager will end up shouting at a player who's too maybe. Oh, what's the word I'm looking for offend anybody? To basically just a soft. Don't shout at me. Don't do this. Know what I mean? I think you take a wee bit off Neil Lennon there. Like, I would love to play for a manager that gave you a kick up the arse when you weren't doing your job right. You know what I mean? But some of these international guys and guys think they're better than they are, like, they don't like the criticism or tell, listen, fucking do your job, you're doing shite, oh, don't say that to me, I want to leave, you know what I mean? So I think the game in general is changing, where you can't really say what you want now because you're going to offend somebody and they'll take it the wrong way. So I don't know, like, there's so much money in it with like TV deals, and especially the Premiership's just like it's like a tourist league. Like, you see like the players swapping shirts at half time and all that. It's like supposed to be a derby and stuff like that. Like, I can't stand that. Like, I'm like more to the side of Roy Keane, where like you're there to win a football game. You know what I mean? I was like, even Gerrard was a great captain as well. Like, these guys are like a dying breed now. And you see them moving team to team because it's money. Where maybe like a player like Kieran Tierney was coming through. Because like his dad's like a hard-working guy that come from a hard-working family, where they just want to win games of football and do the best they can for their fans and that. And I think that's, you can see how he's went to Arsenal and how much the fans love that. They can see what it means to him. And I think if you had a team for 11 people like that, then that's all you want, a team, you know what I mean? So it's different. Same again, different backgrounds. You're talking about the Lisbon Lions, but it was just a different era, you know what I mean? It's just like hard-working men want to win, where these guys want to dance about in Gucci bags and like dive. I hate divers, man. Like, that's the worst. That is the worst thing about football now. When I watch it now, it's just like, I can't stand this shit. You know what I mean? Like, just take a tackle or but it's just the game changing a wee bit, innit?
They would never fall over like that in real life.
Oh,
you never see anyone in real life doing that.
Like, see, when I get kicked like in the gym, like, sometimes I laugh. Like, but these guys take a wee. They sometimes get kicked here, or they'll hold their face, and get kicked in the ankle, and then they're up 2 seconds. You're like, man, you done that in the street, man. You done that in my street, you would get your ass whipped. You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? You're on live TV, man. You're rolling about like a girl. No offense to girls.
Oh, you're right. You're seeing that all the time. Like, what is your favourite memory on a football pitch?
Oh, like watching, like,
no, playing. If you're playing it,
I don't know, man. Like I've won a few cups and that. Like, my last year, my amateur team got to a Scottish Cup final, and COVID happened. So I've been playing in football, amateur football, for all my life. You love the Scottish Cup, know what I mean? That's your home and aways, you're travelling. And we finally get to a Scottish Cup final, and COVID happens, and the full thing gets canned. A Scottish Cup final, you couldn't write it, know what I mean? So that was probably one of my highlights when we didn't even get to it. But I don't know, like, I love scoring goals and setting up my teammates and stuff like that. Just classic away days when you get a away trip to Aberdeen. You've got your bus, your supporters, you're away up, you win, you're getting a drink the way back down. But just amateur football. I played a wee bit of junior football, but I was mostly a sub. So the manager liked playing his son and his pal up front. So I was a sub for that. So I just went back to amateurs with my pals. But
so it's fired there, man.
I still love playing football though, with my pals and amateur football. I love scoring goals, and it's something I'll always love. And I've never chose between mixed martial arts and amateur football. My coach Brian hates it that I go out and play football, but I've been injured more than MMA and I have in football. Touch wood, that won't happen. But just the way it is.
Well, I was talking to you about Powerchair football, which is the sport of football that I play.
Yeah.
Had you ever heard of that beforehand?
No, I'd seen sports. I don't know what ones it was. Maybe basketball. Yeah. But no, the power football that you were talking about.
Because that seems to be wheelchair basketball seems to be the main one.
Yeah.
And but this sport's kind of it's about 10 years old in Scotland, but in England they're pretty far ahead. We'll catch up one day.
Just like the COVID. They're always ahead in it. That's like what's going on, man.
Honestly, I know. But the actual sport, like, I know that you met Kevin Kennedy, who he played it as well.
Yeah.
And he's actually one of our, like, most up and coming players now. He's got a bright future ahead of him, but if he keeps it the head screwed, I know you listen to this, Kevin. Just keep going, mate. Keep focused, and he'll get there.
What teams this he's played for?
Clyde. And so Clyde we're still trying to get more mainstream teams to come into it. Like hopefully one day Celtic, Rangers, Aberdeen, and all that kind of teams. But right now,
does that mean you would sign for Celtic again?
I think everyone knows that. I mean, it was happening. You know what I mean? I'll take it. Tony Hammond, listen to this. Like, where's the Celtic team? I want one to know. So hopefully that. But basically, I would say like the Clyde. There's a team called Tayside Dynamos. As much as it pains me to give them any kind of shout out, that's like Clyde and
Tayside. The enemy. That's what you're telling me.
This is like it's like our version of the Old Firm, basically.
Right.
Is the two of us.
So when I come to watch you, I boo them and I cheer you.
Of course, mate. That's right. Exactly what you do.
Right. Okay.
Because I'm one of the good guys. You know what I mean? It feels like it, mate. It feels like it when you're playing it.
Is there a needle?
There definitely is. I mean, we get on with it. Like we get on with each other outside the game, obviously. But
I love that.
When it's game on, like you almost forget that you're in a wheelchair. It doesn't feel like that.
Is there any trash talk on the court?
I've had some, and what's funny about it is actually like it's all ages, right? So there's a guy on it in one of the teams that's really young, but he's one of the best players in Scotland. His name's Ethan, and he so he like he's a lot younger than me, but we were playing a game, and I remember one time like he's like 13 or something, and I'm like 10 years older than him, and he's just saying stuff in my ear, and I'm like that's me guy, man. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but the you're talking about the passion that's not really in like the Premier League and stuff, and how Kieran Tierney's kind of brought that over, for example. But seeing Powerchair football, it's right there, and I think people would really, if they got behind it, they would see the sort of the want to win so much. It's always there.
I'm definitely going to take one in. As soon as you can get like a crowd or an audience back in, I'll be there, man. I promise you that.
Brilliant.
Just see how good you are, because you're bigging yourself up a wee bit, not me.
Well, I mean, I have won like Player of the Year and all that before.
There we go.
You know what I mean? I've done all right. Like I've got a few awards up in my room and all that. Like, but I've got a lot more to go. Hopefully, there's two of us that played down in England now as well. Me and Logan Mitchelson, and we both play for these teams, and it's like you can see the difference in the levels. Yeah. Of how like we have a lot to go. Yeah. Obviously, we know that
because it's been going longer than
of course. But it's like we're sort of breaking through that mold, and I managed to score over there, which was a big deal, and so was Logan. So how's it feel after a game? How's your body feel? You take a few days to recover, or how are you feeling? Well, I think that's a good question. I think for me, that's a good question. I was like, that's a good question.
This is my first rodeo, my man.
It's just because like nobody ever really asked me that question before. So I'm like, for Florida, it does. See if you let it go a wee bit and you're not sharp, you can feel it, because it's very much like ping pong. The ball's always there. It's always on the goal. There's not really
no rest period.
So actually, that was the reason why I started going to the gym, was because I could see my performances dip in the Powerchair football. And
what's the time frames for the games? Is it the same as football, or what is it?
It's 20 minutes a half.
20.
But that's only because it's the chairs.
Yeah.
It's like a battle life. Basically, it's all in battle life. But you need to be sharp, because if you're not, you have about a split second to react to everything. Yeah. Because it moves so fast. So it's more like a reaction time than a physical fitness thing, but I've noticed that goes hand in hand, obviously.
What about team sizes? How many in a team?
So you get 4 aside.
4 aside.
And you can have a squad of 8, which is like the maximum. But 4 aside, just because the way it's set up, you can have a player in the middle, 2 wide players and a goalkeeper. And you have there's like certain adaptations to it, to where it doesn't end up being a pure scrum in the middle, we're all going for the ball. You can't have it's like a 2v1 thing where you can only have one player go to another player at a time. So if 2 defending players go to attacking player, it's a foul. Yeah. Because only one of them will let it go. So there's things like that just to avoid it and you pass it about and stuff. I think when it's in full flow, man, it's great to watch.
Like ice hockey, like a power play in ice hockey.
That's exactly what it's like. That's exactly what it's like.
Nice.
But no, you mentioned the MMA and how your coach was saying about that in football being like kind of a having to actually focus on one of them. Basically, you can't have. It's hard to be an elite athlete in both these kind of sports.
Yeah.
But what I was just thinking there was yesterday I did some kind of basic MMA training for the first time.
Right.
Really, and it was quite interesting.
What did you do?
Paul kind of hit me through it. Well, just kind of like we hit the pads, and then Paul was showing me how to throw the elbow and do some sort of. There were certain names for it, but I was went in my head now. But
you enjoy it? Was it good?
It was really satisfying. It was like, why have I not been doing this my whole life? But it made me wonder, like, do you think there's a place for disability in MMA in general? Like, I don't see much about it, but could you see that being somewhere?
Definitely. I think there's definitely some MMA fighters that's got disabilities as well. That's actually fights at high levels. Like, I actually forgot his name, man, but the one that fights in Bellator, he's got like he's got half a limb as well.
Really?
What's his name? He just won his debut on Bellator as well, and Matt Hamill as well fought in the UFC with his death and stuff like that. So there's definitely room there, but it's different. I don't know. Nick Newell, that's it. Nick Newell, he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's a great striker. So
I'll need to get him on there.
It just goes to show you, like nothing's impossible. So I don't know, man. It's totally up to you, I suppose, isn't it, man?
What do you think the reaction would be if somebody like me kind of wheeled up into your gym, the hit squad, and they were like, "What are we going to do with this guy? He's in a wheelchair. Like, what are we going to do with him?" Like,
I don't know. I think you just need to jump out your chair and show them what to do. You know what I mean?
Just turn into the Karate Kid and be like, I can do a chop. That's about it.
There's probably definitely stuff you could do, like grappling wise, I think. I've seen you doing some of your training in the gym and stuff like that. So I don't know, man. Maybe get you down the gym after COVID's finished, and
I'd love to do that.
See what you can do. You know what I mean?
I always like to push myself, and I think that's one of the things that disabled people struggle with is the idea that we're kind of encouraged to stay in our little own lane. So you're not, by me coming out the chair, there's a lot of people that would say to me when I was younger, like, just stay in the chair. You don't have to, it's like your life's hard enough, don't push yourself. You know? And then you listen to that, and over time you start becoming almost like you become more disabled. It's like you're supposed to be able to do nothing, so do nothing. And that was something that I kind of, as I got older, I was like, fuck what they're telling me to do. Do you know what I mean? I want to go do my own thing. And so that's kind of what I'm trying to push here, is to show people that you can do all that. And I always get people saying about workouts. So I'd love to do that, man. It'd be amazing.
Definitely.
I mean, you would definitely smash me for sure. But
I wouldn't go easy either, by the way. Don't think you're coming in for an easy run.
I'm like, I'll take one of these off, man. If you're just start like, see this? Just take one of these and like that.
That maybe help you a wee bit, aye.
I count it as one of my legs, right? Count it as one of my legs, and that can make it like an equal thing.
Right, okay.
I have a weapon. You have
like
your
Triple H, like the Great Equalizer, they call that, innit?
Oh, the sledgehammer.
Is it the Great Equalizer? I don't know.
That is. I think that's what they call. They used to. What was it JR would say? He would always be like, we're talking about wrestling, by the way, everybody's got a list of this, so who the fuck are they talking about? But I know we've got a lot of wrestling stuff here. I know you're a big fan, and I wanted to kind of show you, because a lot of people don't appreciate shit like this, do you know what I mean? So I knew you would, but where does that love for wrestling come from? I know you're a big Bret Hart fan.
Just growing up. I was growing up in that era, the late 90s. But I was usually always go about buying the older like VHSs, the ones that I wasn't really watching it or living through. The old SummerSlams and WrestleManias, Rumbles, Survivor Series. Used to get them sometimes in the Barrowlands, for people that don't know what that is. And you buy the VHSs for like £1 and all that. So I'd get all the 80s, 90s, and all that until I started watching wrestling about 95, 96, 97 probably was my main years, and that was like when Bret Hart was really the champion and stuff like that. And I used to stay up, watch them when they were live pay-per-views or early mornings, Saturday mornings, like you would get like the bottom line on that would give you the recap of Raw and SmackDown or whatever. But I don't know, it was just growing up was the wrestling was your thing, you know what I mean? Back in the day, like even probably before football. don't think I started really supporting Celtic till like 96. And it was pure, it was like Rangers was always beating Celtic. I always remember watching Sky Sports and like George Albert smashing in free kicks against Celtic. No, I'm like, is this a thing? Is this like, does your team get beat all the time? You know what I mean? So I think that's when I was like watching wrestling as a, you used to always just play wrestling with your mates, know what I mean? But the sharpshooter was my hang, man. Know what I mean? I used to like sharpshooter anybody. I sharpshooter my granny one time. Know what I mean? I was sharpshooter fucking anybody, man. I got suspended for school for sharpshooting somebody. And I followed the guy home, right? My mate Richard Quinn. I wrestled in his front garden, right? I ended up putting a sharpshooter on him and he was crawling into his front door. And I still had the sharpshooter as he was going in his front door. And like his mom's like, what the fuck's going on? And I'm sure like trying to break his back. I mean, that's just a mad story. I don't know why going in that way. But aye, so wrestling's always been like just one of the best things I watched when I was growing up. As you got older, obviously the Attitude Era with Austin, The Rock was still class, but because Bret Hart had moved to WCW, then I kind of fell away a wee bit, and then, but I keep an eye on it now and then. I watch like the big pay-per-views. I'm not really a fan when it's got like no fans and stuff like that. You get people in Zooms and all that, like in the crowd. But I watched the Rumble. I watched Edge win the Rumble there, and I watched WrestleMania probably, but it's not as good as it used to be, that's for sure.
Those are the two that get me as well. We're always like, every year, me and my brother are always like, we'll go back and watch WrestleMania and the Rumble. But it's interesting that Bret Hart was your main one, because we probably would have had a couple of scraps.
Are you guys say Shawn Michaels is your favourite?
No way. Yeah, Shawn Michaels is my favourite.
Seriously?
Yeah, he was totally my favourite, man.
Oh.
But see, to be honest, it wasn't even like for me. It was just I just love
interviews though.
No, I was like, see, we were saying it earlier. I was like, should I tell him this or should I just avoid it?
You didn't tell me that when we were talking about it. No. When you would have bolted.
No.
Nah, Shawn Michaels was a great wrestler, especially back in the days. It was just, I think he was just a bit of a cunt backstage, wouldn't he, with the wrestlers? But as an athlete, I think that match, WrestleMania 12.
Yeah, that's it.
The Iron Man match was probably my favourite match of all time. Like, goes an hour. I think Bret Hart's won it in the death, and then it goes into overtime, and he gets beat. Great match, like really high level match. So Shawn Michaels was a man and all, but obviously when he screwed Bret Hart, he was not the man. Vince McMahon as well. So that's another story altogether.
I think when I get older though, like you start heeding what it was like backstage, and you start respecting Bret Hart more. That was what I think that as a kid though, it was just like I just liked the way that Shawn Michaels was able to sell stuff. He was always over exaggerating it. That's how I pictured wrestling. My favourite match ever was the Undertaker Shawn Michaels one at 25. Yeah, that was the one I was like, that was a fun. But I liked his one with Angle. Oh, aye. That was it a triple threat that one? No, was it? No, it was him and Angle. It was him and Angle. And that was one of my favourites. Like back in the day, these wrestlers lived on like steroids, drink, drugs and stuff like every day, every week, you're training and travelling for a year. That must be tough on the body, you know what I mean? Being away from the families and stuff like that. So it was just like football and all. It was just a different era back then. And some of the stories you hear and the books you read through the old wrestlers is wild, man. Ric Flair as well, you know what I mean? Vince McMahon. Even back in the day, Vince McMahon sometimes went out with the wrestlers and it was a bit wild, you know what I mean? I remember like the Legion of Doom, I think, put him up or something like that. Like, put him up the shoulders and nobody would do it. And I think it was Bret Hart, like clothesline Vince McMahon off the top of somebody's shoulders, and everybody's like, oh fuck, how's he going to react and all that? And I think he's just like, I'll see you in the morning, you know what I mean? That's pure Vince McMahon style, but just goes to show you, like, he's built it's like one of the biggest companies in the full world, like the wrestling, the WWE now, so he's like a don into Vince McMahon, he's a don. I mean, he, like you're saying about with WWE, it's like they get away with some crazy shit back in the day, man. Like, half the stuff they did back then. The one I put up last week, did you see that one? Like, basically, we had his wife Linda in a wheelchair, and she was like, what was the word? Trish Stratus, was it? Like when he was like,
she was like comatose, and it was like
she's in a wheelchair and he's making out with somebody.
it's making her bark like a dog in a dog leash, you know. This just mental that you'd put your family through that. Like Vince McMahon's like turning to his wife, like, right, Linda, I got a good story for you here, right? You're going to be in a wheelchair, kidding on your paralytic, and like, I'm going to be winching this hot fucking 20-year-old in front of the full world. You know what I mean? Like, how did they get away with that stuff? You know what I mean?
It's honestly, I can't believe. Like, if people actually look back in the detail of that, they'd probably be cancelled by now. Like,
definitely, man. Some of the stuff, even some of the words I used to say in that, like JR and the King used to say some funny stuff. I shared one yesterday and all, but we won't talk about that one.
Because we were talking about Ric Flair there, right? And see, I remember I told you this before we started, but I actually met him going to this WrestleMania here, right? And like I said, we were going to the checkout, and this is when I realised we're in the same hotel as the wrestlers. As you're going past, and you're like, hold on a minute, was that Ric Flair I just went past? And it was him. And but see, that whole week that we were there, sometimes you meet people that you know, and you're like, that was disappointing. They're not anything like that.
Yeah.
But he was exactly the way you would expect Ric Flair. Honestly, like the whole week, we'd see him down the lobby, drinking his hand every single time, man. Like just wanting about going
and profiling, man.
He was just
that's 24/7. That shit, bro.
He completely lives it, man. He completely lived it, man.
I met him in Tynecastle, of all places. I met Ric Flair in Tynecastle Stadium, Hearts, and I'm like, are we partying tonight, Rick? And he's like, maybe. No, I mean, my mate was driving though, and I was just like, could you imagine a night out with Ric Flair? Know what I mean? I remember there was somebody's like, he done a story like they were out for dinner and he like chucked a Rolex watch and his pasta dish, like spaghetti bolognese, just fucked the watch in. He's like, I've got fucking 10 of them in the house and all. Just walked away, you know what I mean? Just left the watch here, you know what I mean? I'm like, that's the stuff you might just be at the table witnessing, not just to tell your pals about. But he's definitely, he's not my favourite wrestler. People think Ric Flair your favourite because I always share his stuff and all, but he's probably the best promo guy ever in the wrestling, like, but especially back in the day when he's probably full of drugs.
I mean, that is true. Like he was the man for sure. But
as a wrestler, he was the greatest. You know what I mean? Like every time he went to the top rope, you just knew he was getting flung off it. You know what I mean? Every time, man. But for promo value, nobody. Well, The Rock and Austin are obviously great on the mic. But Ric Flair, like he got the energy up in the room. That's for sure.
We went into so after being there for a while, we were still coming to grips with the fact that the wrestlers were here and all that. And then one day we seen this kind of really fancy restaurant within the hotel, and we're like, I bet that's where they all go. But we can't even go to the bar, and we're too young at this point. And so we go in. We just went in and we sat at this table, and then they came and give us, me and my brother, they gave us menus, and it was like £500 for a steak or something like that. And we were like, that we can't get in here, so we got like a starter to half it between us. And then as we're doing that, Triple H and Vince McMahon, they all walk in and they're all sitting at the bar and all that, like Sting and Triple H were right in front of us, and the table next to us was the whole of there was Scott Hall and X-Pac, and Triple H and Sting were all sitting at a table, and I was like, this is unbelievable. We just sat there froze, and the waitress knew. She came in and she was like, are you going to order it? And they were like, give us a few minutes.
She goes, just ordered the biggest steak in the menu and said, put it on Vinnie Mac's bill, man. That's what I'd have done. I'd have got away with it, like Dumb and Dumber style. If that guy over there is Seabass, you should have done. If that guy's over there, Vince McMahon, he'll like, wave that, we'll just put everything on his bill, not me.
Well, that's exactly what I would do now. I just didn't have the confidence back
at the
then,
time, you're just like, I've been there, they walk into the room, you're like, hey, fucking shit, man.
It was really, they all have like this weird larger than life presence about them.
Aye.
And you spoke about promos there, right? And it made me think, like, obviously you're really into wrestling, and that might be something you look at doing.
Mm-hmm.
What would be like? What would like a Chris Bungard promo look like?
Well, the Chris Bungard promo, I'd probably start shouting at the crowd, but definitely I've said this before, but like going to wrestling is, I would always go back to, because I've came to MMA, like I've come here for the easy fights basically. All you wrestlers, they're suck, you know what I mean? But I don't know, man, it's something I've been training for a while now to be a pro wrestler, so you'll see a debut pretty soon. There's a few storylines getting spoke about the now, so it's it's good because it's been one of my goals this year that I wrote my goals at the start of the year. I've not really told anybody about them, but I'll tell you about one. And it's to have my first wrestling match in a ring, you know what I mean? So, and a proper one. I've had wee kid-on ones in the gym, like training ones and stuff like that. And even them, they gave me a buzz when I'm doing them. Because I feel like I'm a good wrestler, like I could put on a show. And so I think it's just starting to tick off. Like I've always wanted to have a wrestling match. So we'll see if I'm any good, if the fans like it, if the viewers like it, then we could take it from there. Maybe you'll see me chuck somebody off a steel cage or something, you know what I mean?
That'd be amazing.
And then as I says, you in the front row, slap me the brass nuts under the rope, me nailing like somebody like fucking Joe Coffey or something like that, just fucking him up. I don't know, there's another, the two Rangers fans, they're getting it, I know.
No, like, if you ever need a manager, mate, I'm right here. I can be the Scottish Paul Heyman, man.
Paul Heyman.
I'll cut you promos like you'd never seen before in your life.
Right, we'll work on them, man. We'll see what you've got, man.
If I get a chance to do that, I will fucking nail it, mate. Been waiting my whole life to do this. But no, that's unreal, man. Like, have you got like, see, like in terms of just a dream scenario in your head, like, do you have a person where you look at like ICW, for example, where you're like, that would be really cool to do something with them, like a Grado or like a whoever comes to your mind.
Do something with them?
Yeah, like in terms of like
work with them?
Yeah, like, yeah. Is there people that you have in your mind where you're like, I want to get in with them. If I'm any good at this, that's what I want to do.
Like I've got my favourites like I like watching, like Joe Henry. I think he's like I've trained with Joe before. I think he's like an all round great wrestler. He can cut promos, he can play guitar and sing and do all this good stuff. Joe Coffey, I'd like to work with him. They're doing a lot with WWE now. Anybody? I kind of just want to run in with somebody's and just spank somebody with a chair and just cost them a match and just jump right into a crowd and just fuck off and then have a wee feud with them, know what I mean? I don't know. Like I don't have any fears with doing anything mad, I know, like going through tables and that. I used to do that when I was a wee guy, you know what I mean? Jump off sheds.
Me too.
Jump off sheds and put my mates, powerbomb my mates through wheelie bins and all. I've done all sorts of crazy shit, you know what I mean? So I think I'd like to do like a cage match or a Hell in a Cell match or something a bit out there, like climb up to the top like Shane O'Mac and just coast to coast some motherfucker. I mean, I don't know, man. No, my luck, I'd end up injuring myself, but it was something I would definitely do. I'd like to do it in front of a big crowd, because when there's a big crowd there and you're standing tappy like on cage, like you're like, I'm going to do it now because everybody's watching. I need to fucking do it now, you know what I mean? So I'll probably push on me, but I don't know. We'll see. We've spoke about a few guys. The coach, you know who the coach is in ICW? He's got his wee prodigy who are like, they've got like a Rangers gimmick going on now to them in their blue tracksuits, and because Rangers are going for 55 titles, so they keep calling my name out. And his wee guy looks like, he's like spray tanned, looks like a Ken doll. And it's just like they're heavy tagging me, and because Celtic are obviously losing the league this year. So I'd like to smash his face in, I think. I'd like to, me and you smash you too.
Definitely, mate. It sounds like we need to take care of them, man.
Like, coach is like a fat guy with a wife beater on, like a fat old Rangers dad, basically. So, if I went to ICW, they'd be the first on the hit list. Definitely, man.
Yeah, like take care of the bad guys. That's for today, man.
But,
that got me fired up there. I'm like, get to them, man. Get them done.
So I'm having a wee bit of fun with that now. I'm doing a wee bit of acting now and all, which not a lot of people know. This is, fuck it, I'm telling it now anyway. So I got a few wee extra work and cameo works on films and a TV show that's getting filmed now in Edinburgh. Don't want to give too much away, but it's kind of like the rough areas of Edinburgh, growing up with like gangs and drugs and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to doing a wee bit acting like that. Going on Denzel and some motherfuckers, you know what I mean? And I'm doing a wee bit of comedy. I'm writing a wee bit of comedy and learning the guitar. So this lockdown's just making me fucking try to focus on a lot of different things, just so I'm not just lying about in bed and go and train today. So it's just constant one thing to the other. Probably a bit too much, but I like staying busy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there's some days that I don't want to get out of my bed, and if I've nothing planned, I can lie in bed all day and I get into a wee mini depression where I'm like, that's just another day wasted where I could have maybe picked up the guitar or maybe went out and done something else. So there's just a different wee avenues that I'm going down now, and hopefully when COVID's there, you just get to see something.
That sounds exciting, man. I mean, I think that people are really struggling with that idea of not having much to aim for now.
Yeah, no.
And see, even it's a perfect time to try other things and try and just expand whatever it is you want to do and go. That's the way I looked at it. Like, this podcast would never have started without the COVID situation where I was because I'm very much like you, but my main thing in my head is always when's the next football game or when's the next event that I need to train for or whatever. And when that was all kind of cut away, I was like, right, what am I doing myself?
I know there's a lot of people affected with COVID and it was obviously the horrible thing that's happened, but there's been a lot of opportunities for a lot of people that, like yourself, doing stuff like that, that's gave a lot of people more time in their hands to like maybe, like, this is the time to do what I want to do. And my friend, Rianne Downing, she's a singer from where I live. She's just brought out her first single, Fuel to the Flame. Maybe I got that wrong, sorry if I did, Rianne, but no, that's it out. Our first ever single, and she wouldn't have done that, I don't think, so quickly without COVID and that. So there are people taking advantage of the COVID situation. You've started a podcast. I'm doing a bit of acting, writing some comedy. I don't know why I'm writing comedy. Don't you know if people even like my stupid jokes? But it's just something. I've even started like playing the guitar, but I'm singing when I'm doing it, and I can't sing worth a shit. Not I mean, I can do like a low note. That's me all day long, but I just do it because I enjoy it. Not I mean, it's not to please anybody. So hopefully I try to have wee like silver linings here, like the COVID, obviously. So
it does free up time a little bit to look at.
Oh, like, definitely, man. That's all you've got in it these days.
Exactly.
So if anybody's watching this, and I know we're at the end of COVID, Bill, hopefully, you never know, the way Scotland are doing it, I think. Have you seen Tenet before, the new film Tenet, and everyone's in rewind? That's what Scotland feels like with the COVID situation. So hopefully, if you're watching this and you're quite down, I've been answering a lot of messages and stuff like that for people that's down. Like, I don't mind having a wee chit-chatting online sometimes with people that might be struggling and stuff like that. So COVID is obviously, you've got a lot of time in your hands, a lot of time with your own thoughts if you're lonely and feeling a bit anxious and depressed and stuff. So you have got time, so you've got time to do what you really want in life. Even if you can't get out the door, start planning it now. You know what I mean? There's hundreds of things people want to do, but now that they've got time, they think they're not allowed out, they can't do it, when that's totally the opposite, where all starts in here, you know what I mean?
Exactly. I think most of it's just actually starting something. Like that, they say it's 50% of the whole thing is, I put this off for ages, being like, I don't know. Then as soon as I pulled the trigger, things just started happening. It's
like sometimes when I do the cold water, like I don't like dip my toe in, that means because that's the worst thing you could fucking do, man. Creep in and your balls are freezing, you know what I mean? So you go to a pier and you just fucking jump in, so you're on, you know what I mean? So that's sort of, you just go all out, that's what I say. All out, man, don't dip a toe. Ain't nobody got to know, just dip a toe. That's the American dad, but just dive all in, and like, what's the worst that can happen? You could fail. Like, failure's the most natural thing in the world, in life. Everybody fails at something, but people that don't take a chance will never fail. You know what I mean? I think I stole that for somebody. I don't know. Sounds a bit like Denzel Washington there.
It's spot on though. Like, I think people are too quick to say, "Oh, that's cliche" or whatever, and when actually a lot of these things are very much accurate and true. But the people that don't like hearing them are the ones that don't take the chance. And it's always about constantly pushing to say you can do this. And I had people that were like, "There's no point in doing this because you're in a wheelchair. Who's going to listen to it?" And all that kind of stuff.
Fuck they guys. Who the fuck are they?
Exactly.
The ones that probably
and then I'm sitting here with you and I'm like,
bed fucking paying dig money. You know what I mean? Fuck they guys.
Exactly.
But the one that I like Denzel Washington saying was, where he was saying, I watch a lot of his motivational stuff. He's like my favourite actor, but I could listen to him speak all day. He's talking about like falling back, like, don't fall back on it. We'll do this, but we'll do this just to fall back on. He's like, don't ever fall back. Like, if you've got to fall forward and stuff like that. So I always get motivation out of him. And it's true, like always look forward, always look, what else can I do? Don't look, oh, I'm going back away, you know what I mean? So, eyes on the prize, my man.
Exactly. I mean, the way I like to look at it is, there used to be a lot of things that it's very easy when you're in a wheelchair, different situations, to go, this is shite, you know, because it's like there's a lot of things that are in your way. But the way I like to look at it is, every experience that you have sort of makes you what you are, and then you're supposed to use that experience to push on. Yeah.
So one of my good friends, Kieran Byrne, is in a wheelchair, and I know what he goes through every day in life. Sometimes I help him with stuff that he needs help with and stuff like that, and I know what his parents go through, so I know how easy it is to maybe go into that, maybe no depression or feeling sorry for yourself, but like just ask all these questions about yourself and stuff like that. So I understand exactly. So it is all about looking forward, and it is easy to like feel down in the dumps, and it's all about being positive mind frame, and just looking forward, as I say.
Because I mean, we've all got something. You know, whether you're disabled or not, there's people that I know that are like, you look at them and you go, they've pretty much got everything you'd want, but they're also kind of struggling with their mind and stuff like that. There's always everybody goes. I've never met anyone that goes through life being like, I was totally fine all the way through that. It doesn't work like that.
Oh, no.
I think people don't talk about the idea that hard things are going to happen. And see, even during this lockdown, for example, like there's been a lot of good times and but there's been a lot of like learning things of myself about how I seen myself and the way that I was thinking about things. Whereas I think if I'd been just in my normal circuit of life, I maybe wouldn't have thought about that deeply.
Yeah.
But it actually made me address some things that I thought, that I was realising this isn't a good way to talk to myself about things.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that people really struggled during the COVID, but in a lot of ways it's helped me sort of push on from it and be like, you have to be able to address the sort of deep-rooted things that you think about yourself. I know that one of the things for me, for example, was, and I know you've been through something similar, but my gran passed away a couple of years ago. Well, actually a lot longer than that, but I feel like it doesn't feel like it was that long.
Yeah.
And it really affected me quite badly, but I don't think I really fully addressed it. And during lockdown, I was like, kind of came to terms with it all and had a real deep thought about it. Like, is that something that for you? I know you've had a big relationship with your granda. Was that something that you had to deal with as well?
I think first steps, obviously, if you can address it to yourself, then you can address it with other people. But that's the first steps, obviously, talking to yourself about it mentally, like thinking about it. But as towards me, but no, not really. Like, I knew my papa, how is who he is, so I could talk to him about anybody just because the relationship I had with him and who he was as a person. So no, it's just, I don't mind talking because it's always happy memories with my papa. I don't think I've ever had a bad memory with him. You know what I mean? Unless he was shouting at me for not maybe doing the dishes or something like that. That's about it. But no, because when I talk about him, I smile. So it makes me happy to talk about him. So no, not like that. But I do know where you're coming from. But just like any other issues though, but first of all, you need to address it yourself. If you've got a problem, this is what it is, and then it's easier to speak out about it to other people.
Definitely, because it's the hardest thing to do, and I'm very much in the same place as you now, in the sense of like looking back and seeing all these positive things. Like, see, for example, like she used to always call me Superman, and I used to think that was the cheesiest, cringiest thing ever.
But then you miss it.
And then you start to be like, that was actually pretty cool, and I started wearing like Superman t-shirts, working out and stuff, just because it always reminds me of the fact that every birthday I get, she'd always buy me something related to Superman and be like, she said it as if it was totally real as well, and I was like, you don't mean that, but she was really...
You did mean it because you were strong, you were Superman, know what I mean? So there's different meanings behind it, know what I mean? But I like that, man, it's class. But I get that.
No, but so I think, like, I mean, I'm pretty sure we've covered everything you could possibly cover in the history of our podcast in my head. And I probably look back at my questions and be like, fuck, I should have asked him this. I should have asked him that. But I just want to kind of mention the Kevin again, just how how I know that he absolutely adores you, and I just wanted to bring him up in this conversation because I know that he'll be listening, and I know that he's had a tough time with it. So it's good to remind him that you are as much of a fan of him as he is of you.
Yeah. Obviously, I went to his house. Can't remember when it was now. It must have been before the first lockdown, then obviously, wasn't it? But yeah, I was a wee surprise visit. He's got a mutual friend of mine, Hoopy, the Celtic huddle hound. So I went down and gave him some gloves. I told him the next time I was going to go down, I was going to bring Paul Craig with me, and I think we had a fight, gave him some UFC clothes and a bag and stuff like that. So I'll keep my promise. I'll wait till he's a wee bit better, and obviously we can visit each other in people's houses and stuff like that. So
he's going to hold you to that now.
Oh, I know. But I'm a man of my words. So we're off to Vegas in 2 weeks. Paul's obviously got another fight in America, so I'm off there. Then I'm going to travel a wee bit through America, just annoy people, get some training, and then take some pictures of pointless film stuff. In fact, I'll tell you a funny story. Have you got time for another?
Of course, yeah.
I say a funny story, but it's a story that I nearly died in. So I was in California last year. Training Day is my favourite film, well, one of my favourite films. So obviously, at the end of Training Day, there's a big scene out in this dodgy street in LA where it's like all the gangs, and Denzel Washington's pure like King Kong and got shit on me. Great scene, right? One of the best scenes. He won an Oscar and that for it. So I'm like, right, I'm doing Training Day. I'm getting in a scene. So I'm jumped in the motor. But I knew it was a bad neighbourhood, right? Because obviously, like when they filmed there, like, I think Denzel had to get like permission off the gangs. Basically, we're going to film here. Blah blah blah. So I knew it was like coming up in the second right. I was bang in the second right. It's like they call it the jungle in the film. That's how fucking bad it is. So it's like a cul-de-sac. So you get to the end of the road and it's like a wee cul-de-sac right with the houses. So I pull in and I shit, you know what? It's where my papa's like, this is a true story. Minding myself, right? Pull in this motor, and there's like 3 police motors like in the middle of the road, right? I'm like, oh fuck. The doors are open, and every police motor, the doors are wide open. I'm like, oh Jesus, man. I look behind me, man. There's a motor behind me. There are motors either side. I can't reverse. So I had to go through, right? So I'm going through. I've slowly gone by because the motors are kind of in the middle of the road. So I'm trying to go by, and they've got like fucking 7 guys lined up, right? The guns are out. People are cuffed or fucking zip tied or whatever, standing up. I'm just like, oh no, I can see the headlines already. I'm getting caught in some fucking bullets here. I'm going to catch a bullet. Why is this Scottish guy here? So it's like a wee turn cul-de-sac bit where the scene was shot. So I do a wee barrel. I'm like, fuck it. All the people are out like shouting at them because their pals are getting arrested. Like, fuck you pigs and all this shit, know what I mean? I jump out. I'm like, fuck it. Jump out, got a camera. I've got this stupid camera, right? Jump out, boom. We call this in the gym a one and done. That means one picture and it's done, like if we're getting a team photo or whatever. Jump out, take a picture of where the scene was shot, and I do see people like, hey, what the fuck you doing, man? I'm just like back in the motor. That's me going by the post again. This time the post have all turned round at me. They're still got these guys lined up, and I'm just pure Scottish accent. I mean the window's down. I'm like, sorry, my man, just driving. Honestly, I was a wee bit shite myself, a wee bit. And as I was trying to go by, there was a woman with a trolley, like with a like something you would see at the Hood films with a telly and this trolley in front of me. I'm just like, fucking get out my way, man. Did I get the fuck out of this street? It was a stupid story because it was for a photo, but I nearly caught up in a fucking gang shoot with the police, know what I mean? But it's a true story. But I got the good photo and I got it on the page, man. So if you look at the Training Day picture, that was in the middle of like a stick up with the police and the gangs, man. Madness.
That's like
I think it was Inglewood. I think it was Inglewood in LA, but it's a stupid shit I did to get a photo, not I mean. I was sweating buckets. I was like cutting weight in a sauna. I was just like, what am I doing, man? I could just picture the scene of like a paper, like Scottish MMA guy gets shot in the craziest street in fucking Compton. Not I mean, it's just like it was mad, but was a good story.
Man,
It was a good story because it's true.
that sounds like the most dodgy story I've ever
But
heard.
I've had a couple. Like, I've done like the Boys in the Hood ones and all the ones in Compton, like, and the alley in Boys in the Hood where they get shot in the back. Ricky gets shot. Like I was up that alley and all that, and you're in South Central California. You know what I mean? It's proper gang territory. You know what I mean? And I'm just jumping about with a big camera, like look at, then I get stole off me. You know what I mean?
I don't know how you came through that unscathed, man. It sounds like
I know, but like if you watch it, if you like the film, it's a good scene, man. It's a proper scene.
I'm gonna
Oscar
watch
worthy.
that tonight. Now that you said this, after that whole story, I'm like.
But so when I'm back over, I'm staying away from LA. I'm going across like New Mexico, Texas, Louisiana, all that shit. Got to end up in fucking Nashville. I think got to meet up with like, Theo Vaughn, the old comedian, you know Theo Vaughn.
Oh yeah, I watched his show at the time. That's brilliant.
I'm got to meet up with him.
Theo Vaughn's hilarious, man.
Yeah.
He'll probably have some good ideas for jokes.
He's a bit mad.
Have you seen that King and the Sting show? I haven't been.
I watched some of the clips and that. He's funny. I like him. He's wild, man. I think he's after booze and that these days, but he's still funny.
No, he's like exactly what a comedian should be like. That's amazing. You go to see him, but like, is there like a place in? So see when you're going to America, like, is there a place that you particularly like there? Like,
I love California. Like.
Can I talk about
it's so big, man. Like I've done like San Francisco and Stockton, Lodi up the top end. But when I stay in LA, like LA is massive. Last year I stayed in Hollywood, I stayed in Pasadena and stuff like that. But I love California. Like it's so big and like it's probably all my states I've been to America. Like California is my favourite, but like I've been everywhere, so I'm trying to do all the states, to be fair. I've only got like a couple to go. But this time I'm going to train in some of the gyms. So Albuquerque has got like Jackson Wink, which is like John Jones's gym in New Mexico. So I'm going to stop in there, maybe Kansas City, Louisiana. I'm going to stop in Texas to do stuff as well, but it's like film related and stuff like that. So.
Because Texas is all open, isn't it?
Like I've seen some of the bars and some of the games and stuff. Like the boxing was in, I think it was Miami at the weekend, the Alvarez fight. Was that right? Aye, and that had a full crowd. I think I seen Masvidal was there and stuff like that, and like I've seen all the crowds celebrating. So I think certain parts of America are like a wee bit back to normal, but.
Aye.
See.
You need to get to WrestleMania one day, man.
I know.
Opens back up.
Aye, that would be a dream. That would be a dream.
Who knows? Maybe you'll be on it one day.
I don't know about that.
I mean, Lesnar needs somebody legit, so maybe who knows?
I seen the thing we was doing well though, innit? Your man, it was MMA fighter fights in bare feet.
Is it? Are you talking about
guy that smoked the weed and got chucked out UFC?
Oh man, I feel like I definitely should know this. Are you talking about the?
But he's done well in the Rumble. He like lasted long.
Are you talking about Matt Riddle?
Matt Riddle, aye, he's good, man. I like him. He was a good MMA fighter as well. I think he got chucked out the UFC for smoking weed.
Did he really?
And then he went to pro wrestling. But I seen him jump about the Royal Rumble with bare feet on, and he was doing like MMA moves. I'm like, I think that's Matt Riddle, and it was, and he done well, man. So. I don't know, man.
He's great.
I'd love to go to a Rumble, man. I'd like to go to one of the outdoor ones. That would be class, man.
You definitely should. This was outdoor, that one of 31, and it was totally class, man. Like, and people like Matt Riddle, he's like, they actually do bring some sort of legitimacy. He's actually got really big hate with Goldberg, but apparently, see Goldberg and Lesnar, they hate him apparently. Well, I read the dirt sheets. No, this could be completely false, but from what I've read, he's like, he was like, was there not a time when he was just slating Goldberg online? He was like, he's the worst wrestler ever and that. You must not really like, because he was the guy that pure put Bret Hart out. Basically.
He broke his neck with I think he's just dead rough, isn't he? Like he injures a lot of wrestlers, and so people don't like working with him. Like if wrestling's like, it's like a dance. Wrestling, like you need to look after your partner. Like you're there to protect them, Like, and if you're injuring your partner, nobody will want to fucking work with you. It's as simple as that. It's no playing. Like, and obviously, he super kicked Bret Hart's neck and he's broke his neck, retired him. But I think he's just dead clumsy and he's a brute because he's big and I don't know, man.
Do you think you have that? Do you think you have any problem like that? Because you're
no. Well, so people thought that. And then when I was training, I'm actually a good worker. Like, I'm alright that way. Some people were saying you need to go a bit more rougher. So because you're an MMA fighter, you need to like they want to know this guy. Like, then I'm like, I don't want to hurt guys. Like, if I don't need to, like in pro wrestling, like, it's about no hurting people. But they're like, no, sometimes you need to like be a wee bit rougher. But I'm like, I want people to think, oh, I don't mind working with him because he'll look after me. He's not going to injure me or that. You know what I mean? So it's a tough one. You want to no injure people, but yet you want to have that badass MMA fighter gimmick. You know what I mean? Like, this guy's come to kill people, but be gentle.
Have you got an idea for a finisher? Like a finishing move?
I think you've got an idea for an attire. I don't know what I'm going to wear.
Mate,
I'm not coming out with
I will rate up all sorts of stuff, man. I've got loads of ideas.
I'm thinking like Mr. Perfect, like the straps, the angle or something.
Like, the angle,
but no, what the Bret Hart man's like the short, like angle, angle or Mr. Perfect. I don't know, man. Maybe
because he was always, every time Angle came out, you're always like, that guy's legit.
But a finisher, I'd probably go along the lines. It's got to be a submission, probably, isn't it?
Aye, because if you're cutting about doing sharpshooters, then I'm still annoyed.
Remember The Rock used to do the sharpshooter and he was shite. It was the best. He would like always get it wrong. He would maybe hold the feet now. You're like, no, hold the knee. No. Just that annoyed me. But I don't know, man. Probably we'll think you a good finisher together, right? And then when I nail it, you can get props for it.
Oh, that would be class. I do definitely do that. I'll be writing down tons of notes when I go home. Like, what finishers? What's Bungard's finisher going to be? I used to do the ankle lock, because basically we would have like matches on trampoline and stuff, right? And it was like fake, but nobody would ever let you get the T-count. Mm-hmm. So
remember the days like everybody's just kicking out like you're never going to finish this match. You know what I mean?
Like, it was going on for like hours, mate. It was like terrible.
I've got a funny story. Right? So I had that title, but it was like a plasticky, shitey one, right? So one day, just to be a pure good guy and a mate, I let my mate, like his wee brother, nail me with a belt. So I took the pinfall, and you know the bastards didn't give me my belt back ever. Oh, we're not fighting for you. I'm like, I gave you the belt. Let you give me once. You stole my belt, so we're never going to like. They had it for years, 10 years. Like, so that's the only time I let somebody pin me, and it cost me my belt forever. Not me. So I remember that, Stephen Anderson. I'll never forget that. Know what I mean? Let's just make it exciting. Like, oh, his brother's nailed me with a belt. I'll let his brother pin me, and that was it. They took my belt forever. The thieving bastards. Know what I mean?
I used to.
So that's what I get. Don't ever let them. Just always kick out. Just always kick out. Know what I mean?
That was why I did the ankle lock though, because basically I was
make them tap it.
Because my gimmick was I'm in a wheelchair, so I'm going to fuck your ankle up to put you in a wheelchair as well.
I was feel my pain.
And my sister still brings it up to me. She's like, I can't believe you almost broke my ankle when I was like 7 years old or something. I was just screaming, tap out, man, tap out. They wouldn't do it. It was brilliant. I used to jump off the trampoline, and my mum would be like, I can't believe you've not fucked yourself up here, man. It was like, we would do some crazy stuff, man. But that being able to talk about all stuff like this has been amazing, man. Like, really enjoyed everything about this.
I'm glad, mate. I'm glad.
So I appreciate having you. It's great. It's brilliant.
No, pleasure's all mine, man.
And I'm pretty sure. Hopefully, I went over everything I wanted to go over and enjoy Vegas, man. Hopefully, it'll be as good as it sounds.
Hopefully, Paul gets a win, man. And
definitely, we'll be rooting for him anyway.
Aye, as always.
But I think that'll round us up there. And is there a new ad before we?
No, I think I've sort of spoken enough shit
exactly.
for once. But,
I'm like,
as long as it's been alright for you, and I've been a good guest, and you've enjoyed it.
Definitely,
to talk about wrestling a bit, know what I mean? So who's your favourite wrestlers at HBK?
He was, when I was growing up, he was definitely the one. Just because.
What about now? Who's your man? Who's your guy you root for? I like Bray Wyatt.
I love him, man. He's great. That whole Fiend gimmick is brilliant. I think I'd probably say Daniel Bryan.
Daniel Bryan. I was a massive Orton. See, after Bret Hart, I went to Orton. See, when he was a legend killer. And I loved him for years. But you know, I think Bray Wyatt's taken out Orton from me. But
I've got a funny story about Orton actually. So when I was in this hotel with all the wrestlers, like we were just cutting about, and I remember, so I'm in the manual chair because we couldn't get the power chair over there. So my brother's wheeling me about because I've not got much arm strength at this point, and he wheels me into this lift, and I'm wearing a Van Orton t-shirt, and I can't see, so like I've got wheeled into the lift front on, and the mirror's in front of me, and in the mirror you see in the corner there's two people there, and it's Randy Orton and his wife, and I'm like. And I'm looking at my brother being like, is that Randy Orton? Is that press the emergency button? And I was like, I've not got a phone or a pen or anything. And he was like, all right, man, you got a pen, you got a phone? And I was like, no. And then but it was like, can I shake your hand and all that? And we left, and my brother was like, we'll get you next time, mate. Oh,
brilliant, man.
Honestly.
Brilliant. How is it, like, see, travelling, like, in a plane? How did you feel when you land? Like, did it take a day to, like, recover that? Because my friend, he can't travel for long, he's fucked.
Yeah, it is.
Is it the same for you?
They don't make it easy.
Because that's a long flight, man.
It's definitely draining, especially because it's really awkward because I end up crawling down to the toilet. So it depends on where my seat is. If my seat, there was one time I was going down and my seat was the other side of the plane, which made it a pure nightmare.
You used to fucking crawl all the way up there to get to the toilet.
But I waited till everybody was asleep.
I'll be up so you're not waiting on anybody.
There was this like older guy who opened his eyes and he was like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Crawling on the floor. But I
had to shut myself. See if I woke up and I'm had days and a 10-hour flight and you're crawling up there, I'd have shut myself.
No, definitely. Like I think airports are actually terrible for disabled people. Like, see, even every time I've been to the airport, they talk to the person with you rather than you yourself. Like, they'll ask my mates questions and all that. Well, when I'm sitting right there, I'm like, hello.
Say, I am fucking here.
And the last one I went on, I lost a wee bit, and I was like, excuse me, I'm sitting right here. You're talking to me as if I'm not here. I can talk. You know what I mean? It's like this is what we're dealing with. This is the point of this whole thing, is try to get rid of that stigma that we always have, because you don't really get to hear from disabled people and how you have to deal with this stuff. And I spent so much of my life focusing on like the negative, or like, oh, I wish I could walk and all this, and nobody ever tells you, oh, but you could probably do a lot of things. And I kind of had to learn that myself, and through learning that, I was like, I want to tell other people that as well. So that's what it's really all about.
Well, you can see it through your gym workouts and your sports and stuff like that as well. So it's class, man. It's good to see. I'm looking forward to come watch you though, man. Like, you spoke it up now, you know what I mean?
I'm really.
I want at least a hat trick.
I've done it before. I've done it before. I can do it again.
Brilliant.
Look forward to it then. I always enjoy having expectations on me. So
cool. And then when we get fans back in, we'll even try and get you one of my fights. You know what I mean?
Man, that would be.
I'll sort that, ain't bother.
I'll be going mental in that crowd. Like, I can get after them, man. Like, but no, honestly, that would be amazing. I can't wait to see what you do. You sound like you've got loads of stuff in the pipeline, and it'll be exciting to see what you do next, man.
I'm looking forward to it. Should be. Hopefully, when this COVID's here, it should be good, man.
Aye, we'll get back to normal somehow. We'll get back to the new normal at one point, I'm sure. Which, I mean, like I said, I've had the vaccine, so hopefully it feels like that's a good step in the right direction.
Hopefully.
Right, well, cheers for that, Chris.
No, pleasure's all mine, honestly.